Welcome to Moto Talk, episode 8, brought to you by Shitty Coolers. Check out Racetrack Rob. He's bouncing around all the NASCAR and race car events. So they got pretty innovative backpacks and stuff. So I'll be rocking this for the 4th of July. Today we have Shane Bess on the show. Factory Suzuki rider. I mean, one of the fastest in the world at the time as an amateur. Loretta Lynn champion, I think in '99. Factory Suzuki, all the cool sponsors. And he was like on the TV, like the movies, Mini Warriors. Everyone watched. Battling with James Stewart. Welcome to the show, Shane Bess, everybody.
Carl, what up?
Man, super stoked to have you on the show, Shane. How you doing?
We're doing good, Carl. Thank you for having me. And let's go Shitty Coolers. That hat's pretty stylish. I'm gonna have to give you one of those.
Yeah, you know, don't touch my beer. So perfect for it says on there, perfect for 4th of July weekend. So
I feel cool. That.
So Shane, grew up in California. You're still there, Oxnard, California. You're about the same age as me, 84.
84, baby. Yep, I am 38, pushing 40.
38, pushing 40. You know, you always smoked me when I got to race with you out at like World Mini in Vegas. I mean, you always had the baddest gear. Like you were like one of the coolest dudes. I'm like, man, Shane Bess, dude, he's sick. Next week we got KP, Kyle Partridge. I became close with him towards the end of both of our pro racing career. So he told me to tell you what's up.
I actually DM'd him like a month ago. I seen him. He was a local in my town, and I'm like, "What's up, bro? You didn't message me. You know, you're in my neck of the woods. This is where I stay." So, but yeah, I see him every once in a while at Supercross, kind of like yearly almost, honestly. So yes, and I got to be firsthand and see the whole Partridge family. We were always camped next to each other at the mini nationals, and got to watch him come up and be a successful, 450 rider, and he did the damn thing for a long time. But yeah, I watched many good battles with Kyle and his older brother Jason. So yeah, it's cool to think of some of those names, and yeah, he's a great dude.
Yeah, man, with this show, it kind of just popped up out of nowhere. This little 50 rider wears Speed Farm gear. He basically like posted that his dad posted something. Hey, we want to start a podcast. What do we, how do we go about this? And I go, hey, let's just hop on a Zoom call. We'll record it and we'll try to get some riders that, on the show and pick their brain and talk about how they did it. Ben Riddle on here last week. We actually had Gary Bailey on the show, Willie Browning, Shea Bentley. He was on here. Really cool to be able to talk to you guys and share, your experience and how it felt for you as a kid when you were running Loretta's, running these big races. So the kids can listen to the show and kind of get some input. All right, this is what I need to do. And even the dads, we had a dad on the show last week and he had some really good questions for Ben. It's pretty fun. So I'm pumped to have you on the show. You won Loretta Lynn's in '98. I mean, you were beating Stewart in like Supercross. You were up there. Yeah. Tell me about how you got into riding.
Yeah, so my dad, we live by the beach community. So my dad jet skied, stand-up skied in the ocean, and him and a couple buddies did moto. It's not a lot of places to moto here, but there used to be a track actually on the beach. So my dad kind of did that, and there's a couple local places that a lot of legends grew up about 30 minutes away from here, Indian Dunes. So my dad and his brothers raced. Not super, they went to Ponca. I think like the first year Ponca ever was a thing. My grandma and grandpa made like seat covers for dirt bikes, and they kind of my dad and his uncle didn't go very far or do it for very long, but it was still kind of something that my dad knew when I was a little boy that he could do with me, to just take his son out to go ride a PW50. And we went to that beach track and kind of just went around playfully. And it just kept going. My dad was a roofer and he'd just get off work and take me to an empty field and putt around. And I just remember loving it, and we just kept doing it. We moved up to NorCal, like Central Cal, and doing local races, and then started meeting friends at the track. And the idea came up. Actually, Daniel Blair and I and his dad and my dad drove to Ponca City our first year in '92. So we were friends with Blair, and we just went and did it. I think I got lapped like twice. I know for sure I got lapped once. I wasn't the greatest mini bike rider, little Pee-wee rider. But we just kept going. It wasn't serious. And, on 60s, it just kind of started getting better. Still getting pretty smoked. And then randomly one year in like the 9 to 13 class with the older kids, I was in the 9 to 11 class. I whole shotted and won a moto, and there was a lot of good guys in there. Some names you probably won't remember, but like a Jonathan Shimp was a big name at the time. Bobby Bonds, Ryan Morris, and guys I had never beat. And yeah, somehow I just like full shot and won, and it was super easy. And I was just like, whoa. And I didn't understand what was going on, but that's kind of when my dad knew like we had to keep pursuing this, because that was just super random. And yeah, we just stayed at it. I'm super competitive, and I didn't know that I loved it at the time. I just really liked competing, and it was just what we did. So it just progressed into something that became, my whole teenage life, basically.
That's kind of how most of us got. That's kind of how I got into it, just kind of riding in the backyard. And the biggest question on Moto Talk here, Shane, is why did you love it so much? Like, what kept you going? This is the most fun question to ask the kids. Why did you go ride your bike? What made you keep going to do it as a kid? Winning obviously once you got to that level, but younger than that, like, what did you love so much about it?
I liked just being removed from the world, even at a young age, feeling like anxiety and not sure about myself as a kid. I didn't feel like a normal kid that played basketball and football. At school there was these cliques, and I wasn't like a loner, but I had plenty of friends, but I just wasn't like, that just wasn't my thing. Soccer and basketball and football and baseball, we just didn't do that. And like, I would try to play, but I sucked, and it wasn't fun to not be good at that stuff. So it wasn't that serious for me. But like dirt bikes, I just felt at home underneath my helmet. I felt like away from the little bit of problems you have as a child with like social anxiety and just not fitting in. And I just felt like the man on a bike. um I just love to compete. I absolutely love to compete. The first step in the competition process was the start, so I love to go to the line, and I love to try to get the whole shot. That was step one. That was the first race. And then the second race was from the first turn to the finish line. And I like trying to do my best there. Um, and I just think that thirst for competition, and it was just what kept me going. And it was just what me and my dad did. It made my dad happy when I did good. Um, who doesn't like to make dad happy? And and then it just got serious. And then when it got serious, it was like, I want to beat everybody, and I want to do those big triples that are breaking rims on 80s, just because I know that's going to solidify my position up front. And yeah, I don't know. I just always found a way to stay driven. I love training. I cross trained with jiu-jitsu as a kid, as like a 12-year-old. So I love doing that. I
Which is
love
also
chasing people.
like an independent sport.
Yeah, another independent sport. I boxed today. That was kind of my life after motocross. I started boxing. Yeah, I loved, even as a little guy, I loved running guys down when they're and know that they're getting tired. And I just was like into that. And I don't know if it's weird or we're just different type of animals, but uh it was just fun. And I liked doing big jumps, and I liked getting free shoes and free pipes in the mail, and RM80 shipped to the driveway from Suzuki, and it just turned into this big monster motocross, and it
Who
was
was
all good.
who's your like favorite sponsor of all time? I know like everyone talks about shoes. I got some Vans at one point for a little while. I remember like Riddle was talking about shoes. You're mentioning shoes, man. Why do we love shoes so much?
Yeah, especially I went to like half a year of high school, but like junior high school, like I rode for Etnies for like 3 or 4 years, and I just had so many Etnies. And my dad had shoes, my sister, my mom. Like, I love the shoe sponsors, especially as a younger dude, just to always be fresh. I didn't get spoiled as a kid. Motocross pretty much took all our resources. So anytime I got shoes was from grandma or grandpa, and it was cool. Like once I hit that stage, I just had etnies on deck, and yeah, anything clothing and shoes were my favorite. I loved gear. I loved Scott goggles. I rode for Scott my whole amateur career.
Bevo and Scott, they were a staple at the amateur. I messaged Kuzo the other day and I go, man, you literally are coming up. You guys are coming up on every episode. I just wanted to let them know. So
Let them know. Yeah. I love dialing in my lenses and tear offs, and just had the goggles, all the color coordinations I was gonna wear with my gear. My Cinesolo gear was always awesome because McGrath wore Cinesolo, so I was always pretty stoked to, everybody wore Fox, and I kind of would look over and be like, I wish I was a Fox rider, and I could have been, but like MC wears Cinesolo, Jeff Ward wears Cinesolo, so I'm cool, you know what I mean? But yeah, I guess just competition and just striving to be good at something, and then just feeling like I felt at home at the dirt bike track.
who was your favorite? You mentioned Ward and McGrath. Who do you think was your favorite? Do you think McGrath?
I was Ricky Johnson, and then it was cool to be my last year at 80s. I was actually worked with Ricky Johnson with his MX clinics, and then I was like his he would have me be like, I was his assistant kind of, so I would do like model like how to do the corner on an 80, and I just thought that was so cool.
You were the Gary Bailey had Pastrana. You had
Yeah, I did a lot with Gary Bailey too. I loved Gary Bailey. He gave me most of my techniques. At the time, Ricky Johnson was helping me, but I had already done Gary Bailey, and I had done more Gary Bailey with Millsaps, and we would go stay there at his house. Unbelievable, dude.
Oh man,
Yeah,
he was actually
yeah.
on the show, and he popped on the Shea Bentley show for a little bit. Oh man, he still is just like the knowledge that he was putting out there. Man, he is just so much great information, and even up to date. So
Yeah, no,
who you looking up to now as a rider? Who do you like to watch out?
yeah, I go in phases. So it's not that I don't want to, but I've been a full-time student for 8 years. I'm in a master's program for clinical psychology, going after being an LMFT, licensed marriage and family therapist. So like when school's light and I got it handled, I'm tuned in. So I've been tuned into all outdoors. I was tuned into almost every Supercross. But then sometimes it gets heavy, and then a couple races will get let go, and I just kind of just do what it takes to get what I got to get done. But I'm big on Tomac. I've known them since they were, on a Cobra Pee-wee, and I actually did a couple arena cross camps at their ranch, and Eli was still on 80s. So I'm always pulling for Eli. I love Roxon's style, and I pull for him too, even though they're competitors. Just that comeback story and to see what he's gone through is just unbelievable, that he still can ride a bike, and he just, when he's on, it's just magic to watch. So I would say those are my two guys, but I'm mostly Tomac if it comes down to it.
I mean, that Daytona win, and it beat Carmichael. That was impressive.
Yeah, he's a dog, man. He's a dog, and but yeah, I go through different guys. I'll be pulling for different guys every year. Like this year, I was big on Malcolm Stewart. He was my kind of the guy that I was pulling for, just to break into the top 3 consistently and get some wins. So and it's cool because I watched him as a young dude, when James was like always has been the number 1 guy, but Malcolm was just like the younger brother that was like late to the starting gate because he was still fishing and like not really like serious about things, and he's one of my favorite Instagram follows too, because he's a character. But yeah, I still love motocross. Just sometimes life doesn't permit completely. So yeah. I start out fast. I'll be tuned in start of season. And I'm like first 6 rounds, I've watched every lap, and then I start drifting a little bit. But I always keep an eye on it. I love motocross, and it's always going to be my first love.
So we get like a bunch, I get the kids on the show, and their parents are always over here telling them what to say, or saying their sponsors first. you know, some questions have came up like, should I push him hard? Should I not push him hard? You know, you said your relationship with, you know, your dad, you want, you know, obviously when you did good, he's cheering for you, you feel good. You know, something like Ben Riddle talked about, you know, how his dad and may have pushed him too much. What's your take? Like, what was your relationship with like your dad at like going to the line, or, you know, what did he want from you?
My dad just wanted me to ride smart. He didn't push me real hard with motocross. He pushed me like real hard in like other areas of life, like being at home and being orderly and clean and just on top of my shit. He pushed me really hard there, so I wish he would have let up a little bit, but he didn't really have to push me in motocross. Um, but I think that it has to be healthy, and I think it has to come in cycles. You know, you have to monitor it. You can't just be always griping and on your kid's ass, and you're just taking the fun out of things. And you know, give them praise, and you know, sometimes put the bike away for a little bit and do some other stuff, do some family stuff, because I think we get so hyper focused on the sport that a lot of years passed in my life, and like I didn't really have any other experiences. It was just dirt bikes, dirt bikes, dirt bikes. And I know my dad regrets that, and I regret that too. Like I wish we had different family vacations besides Loretta's and Ponca. You know, that was like what my mom used her vacation time on every year, and my dad same. But like I know we had to do that, but we still could have fit in like some weekend trips, you know, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and done some other cool shit just to have memories, because it's just motocross, 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 and it's all kind of a blur. At the time, it's like the most important thing in the world, like this amateur national. But I look back and, you know, it's all just experience and developing the rider and developing, you know, his ability to manage pressure and just to get in, you know, develop stamina and just get stronger and better technique. In the overall picture, hindsight tells me like those races weren't that important. Like, yeah, they got me my opportunity for Supercross, but like we put a lot, I think, way too much emphasis on each event, where it was just like each year you should be growing and you're doing good. And as long as you got results, sponsors, and it's manageable, that's a positive. But it was a lot to put into it. I felt like I had to win every time I went to the line just because that's what I wanted. But I wish somebody would have just told me like, hey man, like you're not going to remember this 1997, you know, Ponca City like qualifier. Like it's not that big of a deal. Like as long as you're growing yearly. And I wish someone would have told us, you know, take time out from motocross. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like, I mean, I follow a lot of riders on social media, some up and coming, some new, you know, new riders who are getting really into the sport, and or some riders have been doing it a long time. I feel like they're like always going to a race, always, always. Now, not that you don't want to be doing that, but man, it's like you do that every weekend, you know? I don't know. I feel like it's sometimes too much, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. I wish we had some camping trips and just, you know, other things to do in life. But you know, you live and learn, and we just did the best we could. So
Well, you wanted
but
to do it, Dad wanted to do it. That's what you do.
that's what we did,
Uh,
man. That's what we did.
Can't really take it back. And you know, I'm sure you got you know some of your best friends. I mean, you got championships. You were the man. Like you. So when you went to the starting line, you know, Ben Riddle, he said, I don't know if you remember, he was telling me about how he picked his bike, carried it across the puddle at Loretta's one year, and you know, he got everyone beat before he even got to the gate. What did you show up to the starting gate? Like, what was your mentality? You knew you wanted to win. I mean, so that's the hardest part. You know, you get scared. You got 39 other bikes or 40 bikes on the line. You know, you go, oh man, he's fast. He beat me last year. Or, you know, how do you deal with some of that mentality? Because last thing you want to do is take off the gate going, well, I don't think I'm gonna get the whole shot. Like you literally need to go to the line. I'm getting the whole shot. I'm the man, and this is what I'm gonna do. Is that kind of like?
Yeah. Yeah. I was a really good starter as an amateur. Wish it would have came around in the pro ranks, but I already knew I was going to be there, and I think anyone that raced me knew I was going to be up there because I just was really good starter. Um, and then yeah, I always was really good at doing all the big jumps. A lot of times only a couple of us would be doing the big stuff, and I was always one of the only ones to be doing everything. So I just knew if I'm up or hovering around the top 5 and like I got this finish line triple that, you know, these two guys aren't doing, like they're in trouble because the first lap I'm gonna knock it out, and it's gonna be tough to pass me, or you know. And then I always was super fresh, so I had like new gear, my bikes are always super dialed. I had like upside down forks on the RM80 before, like 2 years before those came out. I left a sticker on the goggles, you know, like I was brand new, so like I looked like I was winning already, you know. So that was my little head game. I always had DMX going in the headphones, so DMX always had me fired up. But yeah, I think it's, you do these little things that psych yourself out, but most of all, you got to really believe you belong there. So I knew, like I knew that I was I meant to be
Did you
winning. So
practice a ton of starts?
no, I didn't practice a lot of starts. I just had a good feel on the bike, and I just, my reaction was there.
Mentally
No,
ready.
I didn't spend a lot of time on starts. You know, we would practice some concrete starts, or, you know, burn a couple tires throughout the year, but nothing like super heavy. I see these guys with all these starting gates and stuff, devices now, so they're doing a lot more starts than I ever did. But yeah, it's just reaction and confidence, you know. I think it's big time in confidence if you really believe you're supposed to be there. Um, I just was accustomed to being there, so I knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah, I think I was looking for photos of you, and I came across, you know, Gene Stahl we had on the show, and it was you and Stahl coming around, you know, past the billboards at Loretta. It's a pretty neat photo there. Yeah, we
Ton of
got
battles with Gene.
we jamming Gene Stahl, a lot of battles. I remember you guys were both Suzuki guys.
Yeah.
Kind of the East Coast West Coast rivalry.
Yeah, no, we did. We battled a lot. Yeah, we had some great memories.
Who else did you like really? You know, you'd go race and you're like, man, oh, we're gonna be battling.
Shit, man, there's so many names, but Michael Bloss was always one regionally, and I knew I would see him at the amateur nationals. Stoll, a kid named Jimmy Nelson, every other year Stewart. So we were like in the same age bracket every other year.
You know, like
What's that?
Johnny Marley, and then
Johnny was above
Jimmy
me.
Nelson. Like,
Yeah, Johnny was above me. I always looked up to him. But yeah, like super mini class, I'd battle with like Shimp and Hamlin and Michael Young. But there's so many. Bobby Bonds is always a fierce competitor. Luckily, he got too big for 80s really quick, and then he went pro pretty fast. But
yeah, it's neat. I mean, I have friends and that I talk to, and they're my closest friends from racing. You know, it's a family out there, and
yeah, totally. It's a big family. Yeah. It's sad once motocross is over too, the racing component and like even the amateur stuff. Like really when you turn pro, like it's like you kind of go your own way. I wish I would have done better at staying in touch with a lot of people once I turned pro, because it was just so focused on turning pro and what I have to do now. And you drift so far apart from people you were once close to, but it's still cool now with social media. You get to say hi and stuff, but I wish I stayed closer, like on the phone and physically seeing people and making time to stay connected. But it's cool you still get to reconnect through social media.
yeah, we didn't have social media. Could you imagine being at like Mini-O's and have social media?
I know it would be a trip. It'd be fun. It'd be crazy.
There was so much, you know. I remember with Lichtel and Hansen, and you were probably running around there like
Yeah.
mayhem, just mayhem. Loretta's and Mini-O's seemed to be the big ones. Vegas wasn't too much. I didn't get to Ponca really. I didn't ever do Ponca or Mammoth, but some of those, it was just wild. It's so fun hanging out in the pits with, you know,
Pit bikes, pit bike races.
so Loretta
Yeah.
Lynn's is coming up. You know, I got a bunch of riders that I've trained going to ride there. I'm sure you kind of like get some people asking you pointers and stuff. How you went there? I pulled up the archives. I don't know. You had like 8 or 10 years, pretty much every class. You won in, was it 99? You had a couple top. You had a bunch of top tens. What was it like winning Loretta's? I mean, in 99, you had been there a few years before that, maybe like 4 or 5 years before that. What was it like winning there?
Yeah, it was cool. And I should have many more titles there. I'd have like a 2-1 and then like a super bad race in the mud and like not get the title. And then the year that I did won, I won 5 out of 6 races. And then the other title one of the carburetor hoses was stuck in between the shock springs. So anytime the shock unloaded in the air, it would cut my bike off. So I ended up getting like a 6-1 moto. So I should have had those 2 titles. I actually raced with a busted tailbone that year. So it was not fun out there racing, but I still got to get my 1 win there. Amateur and intermediate class, I should have had another title. I was way out front. Had like Billy Laninovich behind me, and my crank went out on my 125. So I had the win locked in. It was the last lap. I think I went 1-2-1, or I went DNF 2-1. So it should have been a 1-2-1 and got that title. But yeah, it's just tough there because the heat is so much different. Coming from California, the dirt's so much different. So in the later years, I started staying back east a little bit. I stayed at Millsaps like the first year. He was on an 80. It was before MTF was created. Got used to the dirt. But yeah, just lots of Pedialyte and trying to adjust to the time. If you're on the West Coast, like try to adjust to the time change before you get back there. But it was a tough one to get. I would win like 3 out of 4 titles at Ponca and Texas and World Mini. I did that a handful of times, but Ponca, I mean, Loretta's, we'd get there, and the 3 moto format's tricky. The mud was tricky. So, and then the damn spoons at the starting gate, you gotta get lucky and get a good gate. Yeah, it was tough. It was nice to get one. I wish I had the other ones that I had in my reach, but it was cool to still get to be on the list of champions there, and we strive to get it. It was tough to get. Sometimes I wish I didn't do Ponca because I would go to Loretta's and be kind of already like just worn down a little bit, and like that extra go in me was kind of gone already. We already raced so many motos in Ponca. But I loved Ponca and I always did good there, and it was on the contract too. So but yeah, Loretta's is, you get there and it's ruddy, and I'm used to flat tracks over here in California, hard pack, blue groove. Get there and there's 30 different lines across the track. I'd be like, oh, what's this? So try to get to some ruts before you get back there.
The heat is crazy. You're like, I can't wait to get my gear off immediately and go straight down to the creek.
Go quick, right away.
You're straight down there. You sit down in the water and like you can get kind of dizzy for a minute.
Yeah.
It was so cold. That water was freezing.
Yeah, it was.
We always parked over by kind of where the original cliff jump, kind of up.
That's how I broke my tailbone, jumping out of that cliff jump before practice. And I crawled up in a tree above the cliff to be like the cool guy going big, and ended up slamming my tailbone on the rocks on the ground and in the water, and broke my tailbone in a couple spots. It sucked. So
was your dad?
Be careful. Don't jump out those cliffs. Stay away from them.
You get some trouble for that?
Yeah, but we pulled it off still. I still got a win, but yeah, Dad wasn't happy.
Yeah, because you want to have fun down there and everyone's, just having a blast. It's kind of hard to control, but oh man, I've seen, scooters, crashes, people, in slings before practice, on Monday. So
yeah.
You got to keep it together and maintain, not have too much fun so you can race. Yeah, that is always a blast.
Yeah, totally. I miss it. Miss fishing over there and miss the pit bikes and stuff. But yeah, I went back years later with a kid that I was helping train, and it was like 5 years after I had been there, and it seemed like so much smaller of an event just because I grew up a little bit, and got used to Supercross. I'm like, this is what used to make me nervous. Like, this is nothing. But no, it's great, and good luck to all the riders who are heading out there. It's not the end of the world if you don't do good. It's all experience. Just because you don't do good at Loretta's don't mean you can't do good at a pro race. Just got to keep moving and growing.
Got to get in some other experiences, whether it's find another hobby. Like in the winters, I'm in Ohio. We didn't ride. I wrestled. There was no indoor tracks. There was like one indoor race they had a year that was nearby, and we didn't even do that. It was you didn't get any track time. It was expensive. We pretty much I was like studying my tires, one time to try and ride a little bit, and then I'm out there freezing. So I didn't have a huge pro career. I mid pack. I made some mains, Supercross outdoor, but not many people get to be Tomac or
Right.
You're either going to be fast and make it, or it's not going to hold you back taking some time off the bike. You know what I mean? Then again, maybe, I don't know. Everything happens for a reason. So
Yeah. We all find our own path. So it's, however we get there is how we get there.
My dad was always like, just have fun and be safe, So that's what I tell the kids I train. Make sure you have fun. Make sure you be safe so you can get out there the next weekend and do what you love again.
Yeah, definitely got to be safe. You got a lot of years after motocross is over. Even if you do race it, you're going to be 30 years old or 25 years old and still have, more than half your life to go. So want to make sure you stay safe always.
When's the last time you threw your leg over a bike?
I get out once. I'd like to go when it rains. It doesn't rain a lot here, but usually our winter season, I'll get out, I'll go like every 2 weeks. I got an old buddy that I used to race pro with, and he there's a bunch of land out where he's at, and Kyle Lewis had a lot of tracks out in these hills, and he was training partners with Lewis, and we go out there. So I'll go like every other week for a few months when it's good dirt. The last time I went was like 6 weeks ago, probably. So yeah, summertime, it's like triple digits out there where he's at. And it's super dry, hot, and I'll go, but right now I got a baby on the way and some stuff going on in my house, and I haven't gone this summer. I'm like, I'll wait a couple more months till it cools down a little bit.
I'm out here in Ohio. We haven't had rain in weeks, and it's a dust bowl. It's not the most fun. I mean, one time to learn some practice out there, something, just get on the bike, but usually not the best conditions. Well, I love to see that you're still riding. I don't think Riddle rides. He said he can't. He just loves to go too fast.
Yeah.
I like to go out there. I feel like I'm fast, and some of these other guys, the young kids, they get by me. I'm like, man, that kid's fast. But I still love to push it, and I'm sure you still love to hit some big jumps and go fast too. I mean, I doubt you're out there just putting around.
Yeah, I don't like to jump no more. That's a weird thing. I was always a jumper, but now like my judgment's kind of off, and I got work Monday morning, and I catch myself like, it's not worth it. And I actually don't even like going to local tracks out where all the tracks are at down south, just because too many riders and people going off the track all crazy. And I just go to my buddy's place. I go to my buddy's place out there in the desert, and I like to bust out some motos in the heat sometimes just to feel a little pain, and get blurry eyed and sweat dripping down the goggles. And it kind of reminds me of being a racer. But yeah, we mostly do a few laps on a couple different tracks, go to the next track, take a break, talk, go on an hour trail ride, and call it a day. So yeah,
it's in your blood, and like you said, you start sweating. You the next day, or you get home, you're like, man, I haven't used those muscles in a while.
Yeah, think about that little high speed head shake I got that one lap.
We got a guest, Caverick Stewart. He's going to Loretta's. He did really good last year. And hey, Caverick Stewart, what's up, buddy?
What's up?
We got Loretta Lynn's champion Shane Bess here. You got a question for him?
He's like, I just wanted to come in and say hi and get some shine. Just want to see what y'all are talking about. He's still waking up.
Cav, where are you racing this weekend?
Time tuning.
Hey, are you getting the whole shot? Shane Bess said he went to the line every time, and he said he's getting the whole shot. Are you going to the line and you're getting the whole shot?
Yeah.
Let's go, Cav. Let's go.
What class did you win Loretta's?
I won my title on the 80cc 14 to 15 mod class. I had the stock class locked in too. My bike broke.
Oh, so a little adversity out there. 3 Moto format, and he had it locked up, but he had the bike problem. Man, you were pissed. Were you pissed?
Yeah, I was mad. Yeah,
but nothing you can do.
Nothing you can do.
Stuff happens.
Yeah.
You've got to hope for the best, and I'd rather have a bike break than an injury.
Yeah, or just like operator error, get a bad start and just ride terrible. It was just out of my control. But yeah, I was mad.
All right, so Cav's going on the P Dub.
Right on.
Cav, you going to Loretta's? You going to pull the whole shot there too? You going for the win, right?
Yeah.
How big a jumps did you hit on your P Dub?
I just hit the little doubles that I'm turning.
So Shane, were you jumping you were a jumper up more on like 80s and stuff, and when you got going, he sent everything. But Shane, were you like trying to jump that P Dub? Were you already trying to launch it?
I don't think so. I think Caverick sounds a little faster than I was on a P Dub. I was pretty sure I was rolling everything.
Ask him about Loretta's. You went there. What was the hardest thing for you there?
Not wrecking.
Not wrecking. All right. So Shane, you've been to Loretta's. How do we get out there? Because if you definitely don't want to fall on the first lap, and you really don't want to fall at all, but you do. So Cav, I remember watching your times, last year, and I was, I figured you must have fell. Shane, you got any advice for keeping that sucker on two wheels and not laying it down and losing all kinds of time or crashing really bad?
Yeah, you got to get the start and get through those first couple turns. It kind of funnels in and everybody kind of packs into the first couple turns. Just want to get through those safe. Try not to follow, someone too close in the big ruts, and try to pick a line, 6 inches over. And yeah, you got to get through that first half a lap clear, and then figure out where you're at and start trying to pick people apart.
That's good advice, because the last thing you want to do is fall in the first turn or get jammed up behind someone that falls. What kind of level are you riding that first lap, Shane? Are you like,
if you got a good start, you're going for it. If you're, you still want to kind of figure the track out and check all the lines so you're not going too crazy. But, after the first lap, you got it figured out. First lap, if you got a bad start, you're just trying to get through that lap or two to get safe, and start trying to make some passes. But first lap could be hectic there if you got a bad start.
So we got to get a good start, using our feet probably on the P Dub to see those kids using their legs, launching out of the gate, getting a good jump, powering through. Usually it's pretty loamy out of the gate, so you got to get a good smooth line. You're a West Coast guy, hard packed dirt. You come back to East Coast, now it's all loamy and ruddy. Shane, and then on the P Dub, it's really ruddy for them. How, you got any advice for dealing with those ruts?
Ruts, yeah, you just want to be centered on the bike. You want to not go, you want to be aware that the dirt slows you down there. So the dirt kind of acts as a brake, so you can leave it on a little bit longer than what you're used to. And just keep your feet up on the balls of your feet and the pegs, and just stay centered and try to be real nice and smooth through the whole rut. Yeah, sometimes slower is faster in ruts, but yeah.
All right, Cav. Well, thanks for asking some questions. Good luck this weekend. Keep it safe.
Good luck, Cav. Take care.
Keep it safe out there so you can, race the next weekend, and you're feeling good for Loretta's. I see you out there ripping in the backyard. So keep having fun. Tell your dad I said hi. Who do you want to thank? You got some sponsors this weekend, Cav?
Speed Farm, Turning Rum, and Double Up Tires. Mom and Dad, Grandma, Grandpa, Full Vision, Allen Ministry.
All right, cool. Shane, who you got? You got some sponsors you want to shout out? I know you're wearing shift gear still when you get out and ride. Who else do you want to shout out?
No sponsors, man, but guys like Bill's Pipes helped me for a long time. All the guys at Suzuki, all the mechanics I've worked with. Buddy Antonez is always a big supporter. Troy Lee also. Not too many. I got too many sponsors these days, but yeah, always just anybody that's helped me in the past. I appreciate it. And thank you for having me.
Right on. We'll get you some Speed Farm gloves. So you just picked up a new sponsor. Thanks for being on the show, Shane. You're the man.
Yeah, thank you. And I hope they stay motivated, and hopefully they hear some good stuff on your podcast and get some insights from some guys that did the damn deal. And find their way too. And if not, have fun while they're doing it, because it doesn't last forever. One day you'll be going to work just like me.
Yeah,
maybe you'll become rich and famous, but you know, it doesn't happen for everybody. There's only so many Pastranas and Carmichaels and Wyndhams, but yeah, it's a great sport, and enjoy the time while it lasts, because you'll miss those days. So you know, I miss going to Ponca, Loretta's, and World Mini, and everything that went into it. I don't miss getting home and having to clean the trailer and all the bikes and stuff, but usually if I did good enough, I could just play video games. My dad would just do all of it. But yeah, if I didn't do good, I'd be out there scrubbing away with him. But yeah, just enjoy the journey, man. I appreciate you having me on the show, and good luck getting some guys. And it's great that you're supporting the sport, and trying to help these young guys you know, find some better ways to do the deal.
Right on, Shane. Bess, you're the man.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you soon, and we'll have to do a guys trip. Me, you, Partridge, get some of these guys together.
That'd be cool. Definitely.
All right, dude, thank you so much for your time, being on Moto Talk, and we'll be in touch, man. Appreciate you.
All right.
Thanks for tuning to Moto Talk. Get faster, get last.